Welcome to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's Leonard. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show! Hello, everybody. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 98. I want to talk to you about Social Security and DOGE and why DOGE indeed does need to be involved in Social Security. Let me state right up front, I got a lot going on in my head. Hopefully, I'll remember to get to all the things. But on SUBSTACK, tinyurl.com/JLD on Substack. tinyurl.com JLD on Substack. On behind the scenes video, you could see me holding up part of a page of an article I wrote there on Substack called Examining the Social Security Entitlement System and Fraud Therein, DOGE Wants Address. Social Security is not going insolvent and bankrupt due to U.S. citizens' legitimate claims. The problem is the fraud. We as U.S. citizens are entitled to Social Security. Non-citizens are not. Most U.S. citizens are entitled because they pay in to the system in their working years. The FICA tax, part to Social Security, part to Medicare. Those are entitlements. When you retire, you are then entitled to get from the system you paid into. Yeah, now, it's a whole other issue that monies you paid in are long gone before it's time for you to collect any money. Monies you're paying in now are going for others who are on the system now. They are getting monies from you. The leftover is going into treasuries that then our Congress doesn't put in a lockbox. No, they spend that money then. So there's no reserves. There's nothing but IOUs in the system. That's all you have is an IOU that when you are entitled to getting back, you'll be getting from somebody else's money who's paying in. So if somebody refers to it as a Ponzi scheme, yes, it is. From the design, the very first days of Social Security, no one had paid anything in yet. So those who qualified to get Social Security checks were getting monies from people paying in at that time. And that system has remained the same throughout. Other U.S. citizens, like, pardon me, excuse me, I'm sorry, I had to cough there. Like my mother, rest in peace, Ma. My mother, thankfully, was able, because my dad worked at General Motors in the transportation department, made a good enough middle-class salary that me and my sister, our mother, was able to be a stay-at-home mother. A full-time mother to help raise the children. Do we not want that as a possibility? So when it came time for my mother to collect Social Security, she had not paid anything in, but she was still entitled under the law as a U.S. citizen under my dad's paid-in benefits, survivor benefits. Okay, so U.S. citizen, worked or not, is entitled to Social Security. Same with orphans, right? A 13-year-old whose parents die in a car accident, let's just say for sake of this example, has been orphaned. They have not worked yet, but they are a citizen and they are entitled to the Social Security till they become 18 and then become an adult and expected to then work, and then they'll pay into the system. But do you not want the orphan to be taken care of? Yes, in our Judeo-Christian Foundation's nation, we believe in helping those that cannot help themselves. The Bible is clear. There is a distinction between those who are unable versus those who are unwilling. Now, back up. Put the truck in reverse, right? Beep, beep, beep. Social Security, entitlement for U.S. citizens, paid in or not, based on certain criteria and law. It's not an entitlement for non-citizens. And Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security get paid into as a special program. Medicaid is not an entitlement. No one pays into it. It comes from general funds. It is a privilege we extend to people that can be taken away at any point. It's an entitlement. Same with all those welfare checks. There is no welfare entitlement. That is a general fund distribution item that we extend to people as we can because we try to be a charitable nation. But that welfare then does not automatically extend to non-citizens unless we, from the goodness of our heart, extend it to them as a privilege. But with that money, strings can and should be attached. And again, you can be removed from welfare because you are not entitled to it, citizen or not, in the first place. So is Social Security a Ponzi scheme, as some say? Yes. From the very start, it was the design of the system. People that retired and qualified for Social Security when the program first started didn't put any money in yet. There was no money put in. So the people paying into the system, and there were far more workers to retiree ratio, it was not an issue when it started. From those paying in, those who were on the system getting payouts were right. Any monies you put in are going to somebody else now. The money you put in will be long gone by the time it comes for your entitled distributions from the Social Security system. Your monies will come from somebody else who is paying in. Now, the point of this whole show is not no one's eliminating Social Security. No one has to eliminate Social Security. We don't have to cut any legitimate citizens' benefits at all. Not one penny. But the fraud in the system indeed is bankrupting it. Now, we have to address the fraud. Or we could do what the left wants to do with everything always, right? Let's raise the FICA tax from 7, whatever it is, to 8%. And it'll be solvent for another 20, 30 years. But then they'll have to raise it again eventually to 9 or 10%. No, that isn't necessary, nor is cutting any benefits to legitimate citizens collecting it. But those, okay, I want to go into DOGE is exposed. On Social Security in the system, checks are going out to millions of people over the age of 100. Okay, could there be some citizens legitimately over the age of 100? Sure, absolutely, positively. But there are 300 million or so US citizens. By the census, we know the general categories of the ages, so we therefore know absolutely, positively, all the checks going out of Social Security or direct deposits to bank. It's important to say that as we go along here. To people 100, 200, some supposedly older than this nation actually existed, 300 years old? Though, can there be somebody over 100? Sure. Over 200? No. 300? No. Obviously not. Is that automatically fraud? 99% of the time, I would dare say, yeah, I bet it is. And that's what we need to root out. So, why can't we send out notices asking people to, or, if someone's in a nursing home, whoever has their power of attorney, who they may be collecting a check at an address other than the nursing home that the person is in, but notices can be sent out to any and all addresses on file at the Social Security of everyone 100 years or older, and say, you will return to us within 30 days a copy of a legitimate picture ID, a driver's license. Well, a lot of older people don't drive, right? A passport, could be expired, a legitimate photo ID, also a copy of your birth certificate. Is this to give people a hard time? No. And if you're 100 years old listening to this show and collecting Social Security, you should have zero problem with them asking, us all asking you to send in a copy of a picture ID and your birth certificate to prove you're still who you say you are alive and properly collecting. Because a lot of them over 100 are fraud, illegitimate checks going out that we must stop. So after 30 days, people will have sent in, and you prove who you are and that you're alive and you're collecting legitimately. You're not bothered anymore. No big deal. But you should want to catch the fraudsters who are bankrupting the system, because indeed, if it continues this way, your benefits might be cut. But there's no need to do that if we fix the problem now. But time is running out. We must fix the problem now, or everyone you know will have reduced benefits. That's not right. That's not, the left is always talking about fair. That's not fair, right? So after 30 days, those who still have not sent in, a second notice goes out to the address on file, because, the first one could have got lost in the mail, right? And could someone that's in the system listed as 200 years old be a database error? Yes, that's part of the point and purpose of this. Legitimately show you're there, and this is your birth certificate. Oops, Social Security says you were born in 1901, but actually you were born in 1951. Okay, we fixed the database. We update your date of birth. You're legitimate. We don't bother you anymore. But guess what? Those supposed 150, 200, 300-year-olds that are indeed actually fraud can't prove they are who they say they are, can't prove when they were born. They, after then another 30 days after that second notice, will be notified your benefits are shut down. And those notices are probably going to nobody, nowhere anyway. And the other thing is, if the Social Security sends them out, they should be return address required or forwarding notification required. If it's an illegitimate address, it comes back. They know it's fraud, or they need to investigate more. I don't want people just kicked off willy-nilly. Let's say a bad address is in the system. It comes back then. If it's where's the check going to? In that case, it's probably a direct deposit, right? Well, then they need to get off their butt and send a notice to the bank. Is this a legitimate person with a legitimate account at your bank? Are there 50 deposits going to the same account and being laundered out? Some investigation is required here. Even before the notices go out, and if someone's under 100, search the database. Is the right word, right? Are 50 checks being delivered to 123 Main Street, Anytown, USA? How is that? Is it legit? Well, is 123 Main Street, Anytown, USA a nursing home? Okay, let's further investigate then with the nursing home. Are these 50 people legitimately there, legitimately getting the checks, or is it fraud on behalf of the nursing home collecting checks of people who shouldn't be getting checks any longer? See, this fraud is rampant, like the Medicare and Medicaid fraud that goes on behalf of certain organizations falsely claiming benefits of someone who wouldn't be otherwise collecting. But maybe nursing home at 123 Main Street, Anytown, does legitimately have 50 residents that are collecting checks. Okay, confirm it. We don't bother them anymore. But if 123 Main Street happens to be an empty warehouse, hello, direct deposits is the other thing. How many bank accounts? Easily searchable. Are there duplicate bank accounts in the system? Is there a bank account that is getting 10 checks? Investigate with the bank. Is it somehow someone that has power of attorney over 10 legitimate retirees? Therefore, the direct deposits are legit to that one bank account? Likely in most cases, no. Possibly, yes. And the point here, unless if you send out an investigatory note to start this process, you'll never know. And why has the Social Security Administration never, ever been asked to do this already before? Investigate. Eventually, you're going to find a lot of these people are frauds, and those benefits can, could, and should be shut off. Preserving the system for the legitimate U.S. citizens that are entitled to it in a year, 5 years, 10 years, 100 years from now, without having to raise any taxes, without having to cut any legitimate benefits. Okay, that's all I'm asking for here. That's all Trump and the DOGE team is asking for here. Looking into the fraud. If I were 101 and on Social Security, I would so welcome a notice to help root out the fraud, to preserve it for those legitimately collecting, those who in the future then should be legitimately collecting. We must end the fraud in the system to preserve the system. Okay, my mouth is dry, my throat is getting sore. I know there are some things I wanted to add to say other than what I have already, right? Medicaid is not Medicare. Medicare is an entitlement. We can fix the system by eliminating the fraud, and we all know the last administration ushered on a whole lot of people who were not legally entitled to collect that, just like on the welfare system. We can maintain a welfare safety net even as a generous nation to fellow U.S. citizens, not those who have invaded our country, not those who are illegitimately on the system. We can preserve all these systems, and like with welfare during the Clinton years and Medicaid, we see in California now they're rushing to expand Medicaid. So their budget is going to be burst even more, and they're going to demand more federal dollars stolen from the other 49 states to cover the Medicaid of people who shouldn't be in the country. In California, they're putting on the system. We can cut welfare as we did during the Clinton years without tossing legitimate claimees off. But those who are able need to work. Those who are unwilling, biblically, we have no obligation to you. You're gaming, you're scamming, you're conning, you're stealing, you're defrauding. We have no obligation to you to pay you money that you aren't entitled to. And that's all this is about. We can be generous when we're no longer 37 on track to 40 trillion in debt. $2 trillion deficit still. We must get to balanced budgets. We must start to pay down the debt. We can preserve Social Security and all those other things to a degree, but we can't help anyone if the nation defaults on our debt and goes completely bankrupt. This Cloward and Piven idiocy notion that if they keep piling people into welfare and on Medicaid and Social Security illegally that are not entitled, to bankrupt and collapse the entire system, that somehow a socialist utopia will come in and fix it all. If and when the nation is bankrupt, none of us, there is no money for any of us, whether you've paid into Social Security or not. There will be no money of any kind for anyone on any program. So we must fix the problems, or no one can be helped. And that's the bottom line in this. I'm sorry, I'm I know I'm rambling now. Again, tinyurl.com/JLD on Substack. Look for the Examining the Social Security Entitlement System and Fraud Therein DOGE Wants Addressed article that I wrote for there. That is what brought about this show. Because, again, all kinds of people lying. Lie. Fear porn, false narratives. DOGE wants to eliminate your Social Security. No, not what anybody said, not what's going to happen, not what I would allow either, right? We must fix it so those entitled get what they are entitled to, those defrauding the system get kicked off, and if in the country illegally, indeed get kicked out, so that we preserve it for U.S. citizens, because no one is helped if the nation is completely bankrupted. So no one's eliminating Social Security. No one's cutting legitimate benefits. Those who are defrauding the system have to be removed to preserve it for those who are entitled, legitimate U.S. citizens, having worked or not. Thank you all. I'm sorry. I know I rambled a bit. And again, I'm sure I've forgotten some things, which is why, please, I'm not writing in conjunction with the Liberty Beacon anymore, but indeed, this show is in conjunction with that Substack article. I urge you to follow up with that. Thank you all. Talk to your friends, your neighbors. Let them know about, right? Like, share, subscribe. I hate parroting that. But the reality is, this information isn't going out anywhere. You need to share this show with others to help educate them as to what is really going on, not what the media is peddling, the fear porn, the threats, the lies that, they want to cut out our benefits and Social Security. No, not what's happening. And we all must demand the fraud be cut so that it is saved for those who are legitimately on the system or will be. I know I parroted that again, right? Like, share, subscribe, like a parrot. I've parroted a few things. But indeed, I need your help sharing this show to others to help them, because they're not going to get this anywhere on the news. They want clickbait. They want you to tune in for their lies. They want to keep you fearful, not informed. They want you tuning in out of fear. I want you tuning in here and sharing here, because we are the news now. We are reporting the truth here, the facts here, the verifiable things you can find for yourself if you dig deep enough on the internet and avoid all those places who are purposely, willfully, malice aforethought lying to you, because they want their people in power and in control, and they don't really care about you. People trying to fix the problems are the ones who actually care, but they keep getting pushback. You must demand on your behalf things get fixed, so we're not a bankrupt nation and everybody is impoverished. No one can be helped. And again, I repeated that too, right? Worth repeating. Thank you all. I've gone longer than I've intended. So thank you all. Take care and God bless. I know this show serves no purpose. If I ramble for 3 hours, it would be too long for anyone to tune into. Take care. God bless. Thank you for having tuned in for ChristiTutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.